This episode of Made in America is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King's Broadcasting Network, which has been bringing you the best in home-based innovation since 1998.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us for this episode of Made in America.
Welcome, America. That's right. This is Made in America right here on the King's Broadcasting Network, streaming live all across America to all our radio affiliates. It's all about education information. That's what we do here each week and every week. And now I'd like to welcome the co-host of the show, the Made in America show, Miss Rita Crumpton. Miss Rita, how you doing again?
I'm fine. How are you today?
Well, it's amazing. You know, we go from Invent America to Made in America. That's something. So we're going to invent it first, and then we have to make it, right?
There you go. And so what we look at is, you know, there's a story behind every product that's out there. You know,
Yes.
Al's got a very cool story. Al Mango is my guest for this segment of Made in America, and he manufactures in America products that are all over the world. And I just think that it's fascinating, but he has a really cool story that we're going to let him tell. And you know what I have learned talking to these folks is that there's an inspiration, there's a story that comes. So when they've been doing it for more than a decade, and we're starting to get into, you know, the families that are taking over, and, you know, brothers and sisters and spouses are involved in everything. It's really fun because now, you know, the public out there, the consumer can say, "Oh, I heard that guy that made that thing," and it makes it real. It makes it personable for everybody. Then,
Well, you hit it on the head right there. You know, a lot going on, but you know, with the tariff situation happening right now, we talk about that. And matter of fact, next week, you know, we're going to have Zach Modi and John Tooney will be our guests next week, and we're going to be talking about the political end of it. We try to mix it all up, give a little politics, give a little, you know, what's happening when it comes to Made in America, and then actually have the inventors on that actually make the products in America. It's one thing to mention, oh, let's make the products in America. Well, anybody can say that, but let's talk about the companies that actually do it. Like we have last hour, we had Brian Mills, you know, A Great American Story, 5 generations, 1936, with Bond Products. Aztec Washer, you know, out in California, been in business since 1918. So these are very old American companies, and we want to try to, you know, let people know that, hey, America is strong, we're back, but the only way we're going to be successful, the products, is to make them here in the U.S. because of the infrastructure. And especially like Al, is when he comes on, he's going to explain the features and benefits of making the products in America, but what it does for his community, Rita, right? It's all about community, you know?
Yep, absolutely. And what I have found is that there are companies that we just kind of pass over them. We don't even think about the fact that they've got manufacturing plants right here in America.
Yeah.
And so we want to bring that back. I get the fun part. I get to tell the stories. You know, we'll let those other guys go do the politics and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I get to meet the people. I get to tell the stories about the guys that are out there working in the trenches. And it's been a wonderful experience to go and, you know, kind of dig through those trenches and find out who they are.
Yeah, they all have a story to tell.
They do.
And we want to tell that story right here each week and every week. Does that make sense? Yeah.
That's right. And I want to do a shout out. If you're out there and you know a company that's manufacturing, have them get in touch. It doesn't cost anything to be on the radio, and we want to tell the stories. So if you are one of those companies or you know one of those companies, have them get in touch with me so that I can get them on the calendar, because I love being able to meet the folks and tell the stories. Well, it's, again, America is about the stories. And, being able to tell all those, the inventors, hey, we were walking across the country in a wagon train, and when the wagon broke, if you didn't fix it, you'd better be able to build a cabin, because that's it. If that ship sinks crossing the ocean,
Yeah.
you'd better be able to fix it. And oh, I invented this new tool that would keep the mast up. Yay, you go. It's like one of the ladies, she's a direct descendant of Paul Revere. He had one of the first cannon
Yeah.
companies in America.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's going to be a cool story.
Yeah.
And, it's like there are stories out there about innovation in America, and
We've
that is
had,
what Made in America is all
that's
about.
right. I've had John Adams the fourth, and we talked about, he's in the business, and we talked about, his family has one of the original Declaration of Independence. We had Dr. Ames. His forefathers was in the Constitutional Convention, has a copy of the Declaration of Independence. Actual real, people don't understand there's 60 copies. And they all, it's like when you sign an agreement at your attorney's office, everybody gets a copy. Well, they're all originals. It's just that one copy had to be donated, to the Smithsonian. But but the point I'm trying to make is they come on, they tell their story, that story.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
There's wonderful stories, and it's thrilling to be able to be part of that Made in America that allows us to go out and find the stories and tell the stories.
And that's what I kind of like. One week we tell the story of this, we have fun. Then the other week we got Josh Modell, and they tell the political end, the politics end of it, get a little serious, just to let the audience knows what's happening in Washington, which is valuable, because it makes no sense to try to support American products if we don't have 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue on the same level or the same thought process. Does that make sense? Everybody has to be the same here. You understand?
It does. And any company that's lasted, for more than 50 years, they've certainly gone through the different changes.
Yeah.
And, technology is always challenging. You can keep the updates, or you can be overrun by somebody else. And so when we look at those challenges that those companies have had to deal with, it's, shoot, they could make a TV series out of it, but we get them on the radio.
Oh, man, a lot going on, Rita. But tell us who's our guest. We only got about a minute. We got to take a short break, and I know we're going to have Al on. So tell us a little bit about Al.
Al Mango is our guest. Mango Rock. Everybody knows his product. You may not know it yet, but you do. You've seen it, and we're going to let him tell you about it, and the different places where he has put his masterpieces. And they are a work of art as well.
Yeah.
But he manufactures in Florida and in Tennessee, and right in my own backyard. So I am looking forward to having him tell his story.
All right, we're going to take a short break right here on the King's Broadcasting Network. You're listening to the Made in America show. We're going to be right back. Me and the inventor lady herself. Don't go nowhere. You hear? Yay!
And my guest right now, I'm really excited to introduce you to Al Mango with Mango Rock. Al, thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure, Rita. My pleasure.
So you've got, and the reason I know and I got you on to tell your story is because you've got a really fun story to tell. So how did you get Mango Rock started a few decades ago?
Years ago, you'll love this, Michael. I was working with a group of scenic artists at the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans. And they gave me the rock work plus part of the shoulder of the elephant fountain. And I did the fake rock at the base, and I started developing the ideas of lightweight foam with hard coat on it. So it turned out very well. From there, I went Chevrolet, saw some photos of my work, and asked me if I would build them a lightweight retaining wall with a glowing Chevy bow tie in it. And I did, and that was my the first Chevy rock I ever did. And then I did stuff for King's Dominion in Richmond, Virginia, Dollywood, which you've been there. I did the Mystery Mine. And I started developing more and more the lightweight rocks so that instead of coming in and dealing with all the rebar and the remesh and the lath, you could come in and put the components together and make a beautiful rock. And I built a it would have been 150 long, 33 feet high, a big mountain for the Mystery Mine at Dollywood.
Wow. Well, and the thing is that, we see these and they look like a rock that's got a car sitting on top of it, or a Jeep or a truck. And it's like, oh, you can go anywhere. And this mountain that you build, it's holding a lot of weight.
Yes, yes.
And, it's not crushed under the weight. I mean, how do you do that, Al?
Well, there's two ways. The first way is number 2 as 2-pound foam. 2-pound foam will hold 50,000 pounds up.
Well, there you go.
They used it in the Middle East for landing planes on top of. They would put the foam down, grit it out with rebar and remesh and everything else, then pour concrete, and they would, within 2 weeks, they'd be landing the huge planes in Iraq and all over the Middle East.
All right. So, Al, we're going to back up just a little bit, because
Okay.
you know what? When you were in high school, you didn't say, I'm going to grow up and build rocks. You could
I was
go
an
out
artist.
you could go out in the garden and pick up a rock. How did
Yeah.
you get from, the artist to building a rock? What?
Universal Studios hired me as a scenic artist. I became scenic supervisor, and I started experimenting, and we did cross training, which is everything from paint to cement. And that's where I started really excelling. I made a company $100,000 in one day.
Wow.
They gave me a pat on the back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Gee, thanks a lot, Al. We really appreciate this. Go have a beer. So how did you go then into, all right, so you were, building here in car dealerships and amusement parks.
Correct.
How did you get overseas?
Well, I was in Saudi Arabia in January. I was in Milan, Italy, visiting relatives. I went to Genoa, which is where where Christopher Columbus sailed for the America, and went all over the Middle East talking, and I'm working on contracts right now. Saudi Arabia, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and they're starting to really and Qatar of all places, Morocco and Qatar are looking at these things as for the resorts, the waterfalls we could put together, make very lightweight waterfalls. I've been in the Atlantis, which is also in the Bahamas, and I bid with them years ago. Atlantis resorts in Dubai are looking at mango rock now.
Interesting. That's so cool. So you started out with, just an artist with the studios, and then built it into a company, stepped away from the studios, especially when you earn them $100,000 and they don't pay you anything. So you, might as well be your own guy, and get some of those jobs. So now, how do you, does technology help you or hurt you?
Somewhat helps, but most of it is just artistic. I've trained a group of great people. They know how to build these things. You see them all over. Anywhere locally, I pick up people and I start training them in my processes. And I went from the New Orleans Zoo to Chevy to Mitsubishi in Greenville, South Carolina, Chevrolet, Jacksonville, North Carolina, the home of Camp Lejeune. and then all over the country. And then I started back into the Bahamas building waterfalls for a off the grid resort in Acklands, Bahamas. And now I'm moving toward Saudi Arabia and Dubai. And I went to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and a place called Damin. They are building massive amounts of resorts there because they're trying to compete with one another.
Huh. And so all right. Yeah, I can understand why they need then we're going to take a break here,
Right.
and go and got to pay some bills. So we're going to go take a break, but I want to talk about, your manufacturing you're doing made in America. All right.
Yes.
But then you're not putting these big rocks on a ship and sailing them over there. So we're going to talk about the technology that allows you to do here and take there. So everybody, stay with us. We're going to be right back with Al so that he can tell you more about all of these cool rocks that we see out there that we didn't have to dig up out of our garden, or blow up out of our road. Al, I got some rocks for you, by the way. So anyway, stick with us, everybody. And if you know a good story out there, please let us know. We're going to go pay some bills, and we will be right back. And thank you for being with us for this segment of Made in America, and it is brought to you by Product Quick Start. He does a lot of the engineering and teeing up the manufacturing for our inventors and helping the inventors get from mind to market. My guest this segment is Al Mango with Mango Rock, because he is so crazy inventive with all of these artistic rock formations out there. And you thought that Mother Nature did them, didn't you? But nope, a lot of that stuff that you see at a dealership or amusement park, and some of the other places that we are learning, it's not Mother Nature. It is Al Mango. So Al, as you're going through these, did you get married? Al?
Yes, I'm here.
Did you get married? Do you have a family?
No. Oh, no, not yet. Well, I've been married, but, it's been a while.
It's been a while. All right.
Yeah.
Children?
No.
No? Oh, ladies, there's a single man out there, and he's very handsome. All right. So you go back and forth between manufacturing in Florida and Tennessee.
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Tennessee is warm in the summer. Florida is warm in the winter.
Well, there you go.
The products that I use need 48 degrees for 12 hours for the resins to cure.
Okay.
And I love both places.
There you go. There you go. So the science behind this, all right, as far as making these rocks, all right.
Right.
Walk us through that a little bit more.
It's a recipe. Your husband does the recipe. I do cooking. So it's a recipe. I take number 2-pound foam, which is very durable. It will hold 50,000-pound boats up. It's used for runways in Middle East. They put down foam. It's shock absorbing. On top of that, I put isofoam, a spray of isofoam. And then on top of that, I put fiberglass. On top of the fiberglass, I put a remesh or a polymer mesh. And then on top of that, I put Flex-A-Rock, which was invented by a friend of mine at Universal Studios called John Votel, and it's Flex-A-Rock. And
okay, so
they're very durable.
You went to art school, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm self-taught. I did some courses, but most of it was just working. I wanted to be a Marvel Comics artist. I can draw anything. I draw Spider-Man. I can Superman. That's DC, but I wanted to basically. Iron Man was my favorite. Spider-Man was my second.
All right. But what you just described to me, there's some engineering in that.
Yes.
How did you learn that? I mean, I understand it's a recipe, but it's not like you could look it up in a recipe book and find it.
Well, when I first started on these rocks for car dealerships, I began to compact the dirt. How I found out about that? I am just using my brain trying to figure out how to make it so that someone can drive a truck up on top of a rock. And a guy, one of my neighbors in South Carolina at the time, said, "How are you going to do this? Compacted dirt?" I said, "Yes, that's it." And so all these things have come at me. I picked them up, and that's what we do. We take problems, we solve the problems. So compacted dirt with all the steel and the concrete and the cement. And then now I build most of the retaining walls out of foam, hard coat foam.
So kind of science by accident.
Oh yeah. 90% of the things, 90% of the things that come at me, I do by accident.
Inspiration.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very cool inspiration. It's, you put a good cook in the kitchen and they can come up with a new recipe for something. You put a good Al in, a parking lot and he's going to come up with a better way of making the display, right?
I try.
There you go. There you go. So, when you're driving by a car dealership, you say, "Oh, I could do better than that."
Oh, yes. All over the United States, Jeep has pushed their dealerships to get cheap fiberglass around a steel ramp that's rusty. And it looks like a cheap fiberglass around a steel ramp. But one Jeep dealership in Lake Wales said, "Well, we don't want just a rock. We want a 180-foot long obstacle course." And so I started building this huge obstacle course, did videos on it and everything else, but had whitewater rapids, had where you could go up above grade and come down below grade. Lake Wales, Florida, right on Highway 27.
That's fascinating. And, it's like, I can just imagine. And now when I drive by some things, like Al could do better than that. So when you're looking at, different things besides the car dealerships and the amusement parks, where do you see your inspiration? Where do you look and say, we could do better?
Resorts. These waterfalls that they're building are horrible. They do them on site. I can build the same waterfall in either Tennessee or Florida, ship them anywhere in the world, put them together, and you have a waterfall. And when I go to Jordan, I've been to the Middle East quite a few times. Jordan, the country of Jordan, will actually supplement my company to train their young men on how to not be radicalized.
Oh, very cool.
It's kind of fascinating. Cool. Egypt is fabulous. The work ethic in Egypt. I stayed at a hotel overlooking the pyramids, and it was called the Pyramid View Hotel.
Wow.
And I started to talk with the young men, and they said, "Man, we'd like to work with you on this." Yeah. And there's tremendous work ethic in Egypt and in Qatar and in Saudi Arabia and for that matter, all over the Middle East, Jordan especially.
Thank you, Al, so much for being with us today. We are grateful to, hear the story, Made in America, and it's wonderful to be connected to you. So thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for being with us today for this story of Made in America. And thank you so much for being with us for this Made in America segment. And we love being able to tell the stories of Made in America. And Al, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
One of my questions for you is, the manufacturing part that you do, Made in America.
Yes.
But now you're talking about all these, places overseas that have, paid you to come in and put in some kind of rock formation. How does that work?
We can build them here because they're made of lightweight EPS foam, similar to styrofoam, but more durable. and we, instead of using all the metals and rebar, lath, remesh, we do polymer mesh on top of them. Before we put the polymer mesh down, we do a resin or a fiberglass on top of that polymer mesh, and then we put on top of it Flex-Rock. Well, you and I could pick up an entire wall about maybe 12 feet long and 5 feet high, waterfall. You and I could do a whole retaining wall, pick it up.
That's
that's
so
how
cool.
light it is.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. And then you know, it's so lightweight, but it will hold 1,000 times more than its weight.
They hold 50,000-pound boats up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what are the things then, you know, the projects that are coming down the road that you're doing, and what are the ones that you want to get your hands on?
Yes. Well, once again, Matthew was talking about Chevy, like a rock. I mean, I love the idea. I wish they'd bring back the Bob Seger song as the melody for Chevrolet, like a rock. Everybody remembers it.
Yep.
And so all my displays for Chevrolet are like a rock displays. And they're like a rock. They're faux rock, artificial rock. I was at a Ford dealership, and the Orlando Sentinel did an article on me, and they said, why don't you just call these mango rocks? So I changed the name of my company, and my business doubled the next year.
I'm sure. Mango rock has got a really nice ring to it. So that was a good thing with that last name.
Oh, yes.
So how much did you learn from your dad?
Oh, my father was a great concrete guy. We built he helped me, or I helped him as a youngster build a porch. And I started messing with concrete. Then he gives me a paintbrush and he says, go paint that wall right there. And I started painting. And I was just a young lad, and I started working.
So you had the concrete, the mason experience from your dad, but your mom was the artist.
She was the artist. I taught my own mother faux finishes.
So, you got in your current business, you got a piece of your dad and a piece of your mom.
I do. Yeah.
And so I think that's fascinating that, the stories and how you got from, a kid, painting a step to, making products that are all over the world. And you're still using, a lot of that inspiration that you got from your mom and your dad.
Yes. Right now it's Italian Heritage Month. So my father was Italian Sicilian, and I remember growing up. Then my mother was born right near Newport, Tennessee. You know where that is?
Yeah, no, shoot, that's right down the road. Yeah.
My mother, they all left Tennessee to get jobs during the war. And so my mother's whole family, the Ethertons, and the Williamsons, they all moved to South Jersey, and all of them married Italians. And
there you go.
Here I am.
My husband's Sicilian.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah. So, totally get it. Man, he can make a red sauce that's to die for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We love it. I mean, I'm going to be cooking for all my relatives and friends at Christmas time. And I'm also going to spend some time with New Jersey on Christmas Eve night. We're going to have calamari.
Oh, wonderful. I am sure because, I know that Michael King is a Cajun contractor, but he is a chef, a 5-star rated chef.
Wow.
And the two of you, I am sure, could tell some stories and share some recipes that would be very interesting.
Yes.
Cajun Mike, I believe, is his title down there as his chefery. The chefery, the Cajun chefery goes. But yeah, my husband is just an amazing Sicilian cook, and we all just kind of want to wallow around in the bowls.
Yes. I'll be heading back to New Orleans on the 3rd of January next year.
Are you driving through Tennessee?
I am. Well, I'm going to be landing in Kingsport, the Tri-Cities Airport.
Oh, yeah.
Landing there from New Jersey, flying out of Philadelphia, landing at the Tri-City Airport, driving talking with car dealerships in Alabama, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, talking with casinos. And then I've got some high-end car dealerships in Lafayette, Louisiana, that I will have to talk with. All of a sudden, Subaru has recognized me. And even Lexus is talking about interior displays.
That's very cool. Well, and I do expect that when you drive by, you give me a call, because if you're driving out of, the Tri-Cities area, you're going to drive right by me.
Wow.
Yeah. That's because that's the airport I choose when I'm flying out.
My first time.
All right. No, it's a very cool airport. You can actually walk one end to the other in 60 seconds.
Wow, I didn't know this.
Oh yeah, it's an awesome little airport, and little is the key word, and that's why it's so awesome. Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
So what's next? What is your goal? I mean, you're looking at going and visiting some of these different dealerships and everything. Yes. But Al, if you could do anything, what would you do?
Sometime within the next 10 years, I will probably be living in Italy. Oh. Because your husband could say this, if his grandparents were Italian, my grandmother was from Sicily, my grandfather was from Napoli. I visited both places in 2016. And let me tell you, because I've got that roots, not the Tennessee roots, but the Italian roots, they will give me my Italian citizenship.
That is
kind of
cool.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we were in Sicily in 2000 and I think it was 2005. We went and took our parents, took his dad, because that's where his grandparents had come from, and so it was wonderful experience to be able to go. And we rented a house in I can't remember, Tuscany. And it was so cool because the gentleman, the owner that had rented the house to us, my husband was cooking dinner for the entire family then, and he goes, "What is that aroma?" And I said, "Oh, my husband is cooking for us." So that was, the Italian noticing the aroma. Oh, yeah. And he goes, "You are a very lucky woman." And I said, "Yes, I am." And so that is that's fascinating. And I'm sure that we will have you back on to talk more about your story and some of the things that are going on. And we want to be able to, wish you the very best of luck. So as far as, see, I had this fantasy that you were going to say you would, build a rock on the moon or something.
No.
All right. So you're looking more at that retirement stage of moving to, Italy, Sicily or Italy. There is a difference.
Well, I have relatives in Genoa.
Okay.
So when I flew into Milano, I took the train to Genoa, but I also was talking with Campari. In fact, I've got some Camparis. Campari is looking at my company about these lightweight grottos for marketing.
Oh, cool. Well, we will get you back to talk some more about that. Yeah. I want to thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thank you.
And our clock is ticking down. Everybody, these are the stories that we get to tell with Made in America. So we will be back again next week, a little bit more on the politics next week and the things that are going on that people have to deal with when they are manufacturing in America and trying to sell overseas. But we have got some great stories coming up for you in the next few weeks. So stick with us, everybody. And you know what? When you can go buy American, please do. Made in America is what it's all about. And thank you to King Productions for allowing us to tell you these wonderful stories.